My name is Desi, the Executive Director of Kultivate Labs. We operate Kapwa Gardens, which is right around the corner, and then Balay Kreative, which is also right around the corner. So two arts and culture hubs for the Filipino community on either end. So I actually came to San Francisco to be a .com, so now we call them startups. So I've kind of like flipped around, where now I'm no longer involved in technology, but I'm a deep advocate for long-time community stakeholders. So it's kind of an interesting place to be. One coming as the unwitting disruptor, and then now becoming more of the advocate for those who are then now being displaced. I like to think that the work that we're doing here is really kind of a laboratory of kind of fixing these kind of economic ills that we find with economic development. So like in my community, economic development is like a four-letter word. When they hear that, they hear, we're gonna get displaced. They don't see that, they don't hear and see that as a positive thing. They don't see themselves as participants in economic development. They're seeing themselves as collateral damage. And so we're trying to flip that. I think the key thing to remember is that this is a neighborhood that has experienced lots of trauma. You know, if it's not through their experience of immigration and trying to come up in American society, it's just the everyday trauma of the neighborhood that we're in, just blocks away is 6th Street. And before COVID, San Francisco was built on all these assumptions that may or may not remain true, where tech is going to continue to gobble up space, income inequalities can continue to rise, the rich are going to keep getting richer, government is dysfunctional, so on and so forth. But it still remains to be seen if those assumptions are going to hold true in this new normal that we're going through. Because we're already seeing one major assumption going away, which is tech is not going to continue to gobble up space. It's really trending towards they're going to contract in terms of space. And so it's going to be kind of like that economic cycle of SoMa, where this was an industrial base, industry went away, it emptied out, and so what happened, right? So if history repeats itself, what's going to happen is that prices go down, it becomes a refuge for those who are on societal's fringes, artists, minorities, free thinkers. And what is going to happen to all of the space? Is it going to be another repeat of that kind of innovation cycle of communities of color, reimagining what their space is, artists coming in, free thinkers? The opportunity of empty space is going to bring in new innovation of what to do, but it's to make sure that those who are creating that equity and that value in the space, that they participate in that economic cycle that'll eventually grow with them, or grow because of them as the catalyst.